Okay, so one of you guys in the community actually asked me what I would do if I had to start over, what I would do differently. So I love the questions you ask. So insightful. I thought I would make a whole training on this and give it to the community because I know I love videos like this. And I think the things when I thought about what I would do if I was starting over, what I do differently, were so meaningful. And so I want you guys to learn from my mistakes and get the most out of your business where you are. So the first thing I would do is really devote time and effort to one or two platforms. So over the last couple months, I've really been devoting my time and effort to Facebook. So I created this community. Some people were already in it, but it was at like 30 members just a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. So I've noticed as soon as I just really devoted my time to Facebook, the community started growing exponentially. And I plan to do this with other platforms too, but it can be so hard when you're on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter and all these things. Your focus is everywhere and it's not in one place, and really mastering one particular funnel and one particular strategy there. Of course, once you master those, yes, expand, because you're going to get so many more clients when you expand. However, if you're not a master at one thing, it's going to be really hard to kind of like split your focus in that direction. So I would say promote on 1 to 2 platforms max when you're starting, and really dive deep into your strategy there. And once you could get that on autopilot, then move on to the next ones. Again, with a product or service, promote one, focus on one, really build that up. Get $10,000 in sales in just that one specific product or service, and then move on to creating more. I know so many of us want to create so many things, and that is perfectly fine. However, if your focus is split, it's a lot harder to do that. So if I had to do it again, I would specifically find 1 to 2 platforms, go there and promote one thing and get really good at that before moving on to the next. All right, building a community. So like I just said, this Facebook community is really taking off for me right now. And I've been doing lead generation now for 2+ years. I was a VA and a social media manager before that. And when I started in the era of like 2021 and 2020, so many people were focused on just building an Instagram and getting as many followers as possible. And I think having a lot of followers on Instagram is great. However, it's not always that community feel. By community, I mean like resources, value, connection. And I think that the Facebook group is really great for this. So like I'm saying in here, start an email list where you're really nurturing people. Start a Facebook group and create that sense of community. If I had done this before, I would have so many more people to market to in this way, and I would have built so much trust, where now I'm kind of going back and building the trust now 2 years later, versus I could have been doing this whole time, and I wish I'd done that. All right, pitching myself. So I was always really nervous to pitch myself unless someone was specifically asking about my program or service. And what I've noticed over the last few months is that, especially with my course, Lead Generation Accelerator, I have so many good conversations with you guys. I have so many people who are like, oh, I just need a couple more clients. And yet I would hold back and kind of give some tips, but not say like, oh, I actually have this thing where if you pay for it, I can help you do exactly that. And I would say the majority of people, when I tell them that, they didn't even know I had that service or product, even though it feels like I am talking about it 24/7. Not everyone sees your Facebook, your Instagram posts, all of that. So I wouldn't hesitate to pitch myself. And what I mean by this is not go out and cold message and pitch yourself to everyone, even if they're not your ideal client. I mean, if you're in a conversation with someone on the internet or in person and you know that your product or service can help them, tell them that. Tell them, hey, you can join this and it'll help you. You never know who's interested. You never know who's a potential collaborator. You never know someone who may know someone who needs what you have. So don't be afraid to talk about what you're offering at all. it's really great. You never know where your leads are going to come from. Creating a work-life balance. So when I first started, I was grinding it out, you guys. I was working for very little pay. Just there's been times where I work like 10, 12-hour days, like 7 days a week. And I know that that's not sustainable. So I'd go through periods of really high productivity and higher income. And then, of course, I would burn out. And so would go to no productivity, no income. So it's this up and down. I would see that in my revenue instead of just a steady routine around this is how many clients I could take on. I'm not taking on more projects. It's not going to take me more than this amount of time. I'm going to create efficiency around it. And so I would have definitely prioritized this more setting up my business. I think I was just in it for quick wins, which I know a lot of us are in the beginning when we're struggling for income. However, it's also important to not overwork yourself because, as I said, you get to the point where you burn out and you're forced to kind of take it easy rather than just having a steady pace all throughout the time. I'll also notate here that when I started taking weekends off, I usually take Saturday, Sunday off, but of course I could be flexible in that I could do Saturday, Friday, Saturday, or like Sunday, Monday, or whatever that looks like. Things got so much better for me. I was able to kind of disconnect from that workaholic mode. I do work on weekends occasionally, but it's always a choice. And also turning off my phone when I'm not working, so I'm not constantly getting notifications. And if that's not possible, turn your notifications off so you're not always bombarded by work. Working at home can be so stressful. Right now, I actually have a second device, an old phone of mine that I use when I'm not working to be able to contact friends and family, because I know for me, it was so hard to switch off that work phone and just constant notifications. All right, optimizing efficiency. So before, I would always do things the hard way. I'm posting a video. I don't know when this comes out, if I had posted it or will be posting it, about some AI tools that I'm using right now to find more leads on Facebook and deal with my messenger and keep it organized. But what I would say is if something is taking you a long time, find a process to do it shorter, even if this means investing in some sort of tech or systems, because you may be spending $50 here, $30 here, but if you are charging, say, $40 hourly, and that's giving you an hour back of your time, you're able to take on more clients, or maybe you're just able to enjoy yourself a little bit more. So I definitely would have looked into this sooner had I known, had I thought about it. But if you're always feeling overwhelmed, maybe check with someone. You can check with me and be like, this process is absolutely draining me. How can I do it more efficiently? Because ultimately, your clients are looking for that end result versus the process it took you to get there. Okay, provide valuable content. So again, I was so in my business where I was 100% head down working on client accounts that I pretty much abandoned my own social media. Even though I know all these great methods and tools, I wasn't sharing them on the internet. And so now that I am positioning myself as more of that authority figure that knows lead gen, who's done lead gen for the last 2 years, I don't really have a lot of content to fall back on, because I was so in the client accounts that now I'm kind of trying to make up for it. And I've seen over the past month that even providing this content does draw people to, and I'm starting to see kind of the efforts I put grow to fruition now. But if I had to start over, I would have started from the very beginning, really documenting the process, everything I learned, just filming a quick video like this. So simple with Loom. You don't even have to like get all done up and like put your face on camera. You can create these presentations. I create these using Google Slides and an AI that generates the slides for me when I just type out what I want to say. And I'm able to film it in less than 30 minutes, give you guys so much value. And then it's something that I'll have, a resource I'll have when someone's trying to decide if they want to work with me or not. I can kind of show them these videos and show them what I can provide. So anything you know when you're teaching people and you're constantly creating content, it really helps you out in the long game. right? Constantly educating myself. So again, like I said, I was so stuck in all of the client accounts for so long that I wasn't learning the newest tools in the niche. I wasn't necessarily diving into that education, which really inspires me every single day. I would dip my toe in here and there, or when I was like burnt out, kind of get into it, or just stack it a little bit on the weekends. But I've been actually forcing myself to take even just 20 minutes to an hour a day and watch videos on lead generation so I could give you guys the best tools so I could learn more, keep up with the industry. There's always more you can learn, whether that be a new tech platform such as ManyChat, viewing their tutorials, whether that be from a coach, just going through materials you have already, whether that be even through Facebook and looking at the videos and the groups you're a part of. But I would definitely prioritize my ongoing education, because the more I learn, the more I have to give. The more I have to give, the more I can charge. The more I can charge, like the more transformation my clients are going to get. All right, prioritizing health and well-being. So for me, I got into entrepreneurship because I was dealing with some health conditions. And so that was one of my values when I started, is prioritizing my health. I had this whole morning routine where I'd wake up, I'd read a chapter in the book, I'd do yoga, I'd meditate. And then I got really busy with clients once things started working. And I think things started working because I was prioritizing my health. And then I put my health on the back burner because I was prioritizing clients. And not that clients aren't important, but you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Otherwise, again, we go back to burnout, and that doesn't lead to more clients or more revenue. So I would say always put your health first. If you need to take a minute, take a minute. If you need to cut back your work hours, cut back your workload, absolutely do that for your health and well-being. And that's all I'll say there. It's something that I'm consistently working on, something I'm trying to implement into my business on a daily basis, is checking in with myself and making sure I'm optimal, so that way the services I give you guys are optimal as well. All right, asking for support. So there's been so many times in business where things get overwhelming, and I've been so lucky to be able to find really great coaches that I can ask for support. And it could be the difference of you're in a moment where a client decides to no longer work with you and you're just devastated and want to burn your business to the ground. And you just need that other voice of reason in that moment to be like, it's okay. Like, there's plenty of clients out there. You'll find the right fit. And it's so much more complex than that, obviously. But being able to just have someone to not vent to, but strategize with, find your way through the hard times. When you're feeling overwhelmed, look at how can we simplify this? How can we get you a better work-life balance? What do your routines look like? Let's take a look at those. So don't hesitate to ask for help. This could look like a variety of things. It could look like joining a program, getting a coach, but it could also look like just making friends in the entrepreneur community and having someone there for you who gets it. Because running a business can be really challenging. And although we like to glamorize it on social media, it really can be hard in those first, not just few months, few years. And there's always going to be other challenges. It's better problems, but there's always going to be something that comes up. So having a support system is 100% necessary. All right, better business budgeting. So for me, where I really found my downfall was that with this wasn't necessarily starting the business, because I was working full time. I was able to pay for courses and education to get started. I was able to fund that. No big deal. I don't think I even put money on credit cards at that point. Where I had my downfall is my business was growing. I decided to turn it into an agency. I don't have that anymore. I'm a solopreneur currently. And I didn't really have the budget to hire, but I hired anyway. And then the not employees, but the freelancers who were working with me, obviously it was important for me to compensate them and give them the hours that I promised. But I don't think I forecasted that out well enough. I also didn't forecast out my lead gen well enough because, like I said, I was so in the client accounts that I wasn't marketing. And it led to this cycle of like high income months and lots of clients, low income months where I'm searching for clients. And so the hamster wheel keeps turning. And where I was able to hit like 5-6K months, and I did need that additional support. Once I got it, I was hitting like 0K months. And so this took me for a turn. And it's been a lot to try and like dig myself out of that financial hole. But I would definitely say make sure that you can afford what you're doing. I think with business, you do have to take some risks. I did take out a loan after that to be able to continue working on this business. I've also worked in like kind of side jobs or freelance to be able to support it. And yeah, but I've invested in myself heavily too. And that's because I know that these investments will have an ROI and that I am learning so much. And I know that that is possible. And I've seen with each investment I've made that how much it has helped me. However, I would say just getting really good at budgeting for your business, maybe even talking to an accountant or just keeping really good track of what you're spending on the business and what your ROI is. So that way you could also forecast how many clients you need, what your prices need to be, and what you need in order to pay yourself. Okay, finding my why. So I found this really early on, and I was really connected to, I wanted to build a business so that I could work from home, so that I can manage my health better. And that was a driving force for me. And that really kind of helped me get that momentum initially. And then I was so in the business that I lost sight of that. Now I try and go back to my why each day, and that's evolved over time. Now I want to be able to not only prioritize my health, but be able to be there for my family, be able to work remotely, be able to travel. And so you really want to connect to that each and every day because there's so many hard points in business and you need something to kind of push you forward. And so reinforcing this daily is so important. And that goes to the next thing of working towards fun. So I found that the times where I'm actually creating a lot of revenue in my business and signing a lot of clients, it's because I have this other goal in mind too. So the why is this long term, like why am I building this? Why do I stick with this? But I think the fun is the short term, right? Like, okay, if I'm able to get this amount, I can buy this for myself, or I can go on this trip, or I can invest in my business in this way. And so anytime I've had like a course I really wanted to purchase, or a coach I really want to work with, or something that I really want and I know how much it is, I calculate out like how many clients do I need to get there. And then I'm just on a mission to do that because I know I'll get this reward at the end of it. And so that's really fun to do too. And so I would say always have something fun in the works, whether that be if every time I sign a client, this was one of my things too. Every time I sign a client, I can go get myself an ice cream, or I can have dinner out that night, or stuff like that. It just makes it so much more fun. And even when creating my course, I worked with a coach and we kind of gamified it. So each step I took, I did something rewarding for myself. So if I recorded all the modules, I got to have like my favorite dinner. If I published the course, I got to get myself something I really wanted from Amazon, like $20 thing from Amazon. So it's really fun to do this because then you're kind of pushed towards something great rather than running from like, oh my goodness, I need to pay my debt and I need to do this because I need this. Like it feels like instead of running from something, you're running towards something. And that just makes it so much more fun. And you're coming at it with this very positive attitude versus this space of lack. All right, embracing failure. So one of the things that I feel like holds a lot of people back is we're so scared of our launch not working, or we're so scared that this product won't be right. You need to take that leap with both feet, because if your launch fails, that's fine. You learned from it. You learned why it didn't work. You see what you could do better next time. But you put yourself out there and you have this data that you can work with for the future. And keep going, right? So every time you do something that may be a little bit uncomfortable in your business, or it doesn't work out the way you wanted, you're learning. And I think it's a fail forward kind of process, because you're able to go from that and tell that story eventually of like, oh, do you remember when I did this and it didn't work? Well, here's what I'm going to do next time. And so if you keep with the process, it always gets better. You always redefine. You always come up with something new and innovative. Like I said, this year, I launched Lead Generation Accelerator. I had tried launching this a couple times in the past, different versions of it. It didn't really work out. I learned that, and now I have people in this course. So it's really fun. With my Done For You services, I kind of took a step back. I'm redoing that right now. And so it's really fun to come at it with something different and know that, okay, even though there were some hard spots and some spots where it felt like failure, ultimately it's led me to this destination where I'm excited about it again. All right, like I said just then, consistency pays off. So stay consistent in your efforts. Even if no one's liking your videos, even if it feels like you're hearing crickets, people are still following you. Even the last 2 sales I've gotten, I didn't even know that these people were considering working with me. They are there in the background and they are paying attention to what you do. Even if you're not getting that immediate feedback, keep with it. The people I've seen that are the most successful, they have like hundreds of videos on YouTube. I feel like when they first started, they were getting probably no views, or their family was viewing it. But once it pays off, you will see the long-term benefits, and you'll look back and you'll tell people the same thing. And so once you're at 500 videos, of course you're going to have a following. Of course people are going to figure you out and find you and binge your content. And so keep going. Even when you're hearing crickets, eventually you will see the fruition of your efforts right now. All right, and last one, meditation and mindset work. So I know that this is different for everyone, depending on your spirituality, your religion, your beliefs. But what I would say is work on whatever feels good for you. So whether that's journaling, meditating, doing yoga, praying, connecting with a higher power. This helps so much because, like I said, it's such an emotional journey in entrepreneurship. And if you could go through this each day and connect back to this purpose, connect back to yourself, take really good care of you, it's going to help your business in tremendous ways. I know for me, I do practice meditation, and I found when I consistently am meditating, my businesses always grows. And then I went through that cycle where I'd kind of stop doing that and I'd be like, what is going wrong in all of this? Well, I wasn't connecting, wasn't meditating, I wasn't paying attention to my needs. And so I do prioritize this now. Even on the really busy days, they say if you don't have time to meditate for an hour, you probably need to meditate for 2. Because that's where you're going to find your solutions to your roadblocks and your problems. So just give yourself that time, that space, and whatever feels good for you in meditation and mindset work, go through that. And I hope this was really helpful for you guys. This was so fun for me to make this presentation. I'd love to hear if you are an entrepreneur and you've been in it for a while, what you would do differently if you had to start over. If you are at the beginning of your journey, I'm so excited for you. I wish I had stumbled upon a video like this in the beginning. Let me know what your takeaways were, and I hope this was super helpful for you.